So let's look at all the factors that you need to consider before you decide if a particular exhibition is right for your product and your business. One of the most important considerations is whether the exhibition is indoors or outdoor. If it's going to be indoors, that solves a lot of issues that are going to be related especially to the weather. So if it's hot weather, the place is likely going to be air conditioned. If it's cold weather, it's likely going to be heated. But if the exhibition is going to be outdoors, then there are specific things that you have to consider. For example, what is the weather going to be like at the time of the exhibition? I have seen people sign up for exhibitions smack in the middle of May, and May for us is one of the hottest months, which means that you're going outside for your exhibition in 40 degrees centigrade temperature, and for some reason, you're expecting it to be a pleasant day. That's not how it works. I went to this exhibition once. Yes, they had a covering, but it was such a hot day. It was terrible. I don't think I spent more than 40 minutes in the place, and most of it was spent in the food court area. And there were a lot of vendors who were cribbing about it being a very, very hot day. What were you thinking? If you're going to sign up for an exhibition in the middle of May in a hot country when you know the temperatures go up to easily around 40 degrees centigrade, then how do you not know it's going to be hot? What were you expecting? ACs outdoors? So these are the things that you have to think through before you sign up for an exhibition. So they had an option of paying a minuscule amount to get a fan. People again did not think it through, and a lot of them opted to save a very, very small amount. It was almost like what, $1 or $2 maybe. They opted to not spend that money and go without a fan, and then obviously they were complaining about not having it. From the organizer's side, I mean, just bill the price of the fan and the stall cost and just give everybody a fan. That way you will not have complaints. And you would have covered your cost anyway. The single most difficult weather to deal with is rain. If it's monsoon season, just avoid having an event outdoor altogether. If you live in a country where it rains all the time, probably best to stick to indoors. Unless you know for sure that there's no prediction for rain for a certain period of time. Even indoor events should be avoided in certain places if the drainage in your city is not that great. Some places are built for rain and people just go about their business. That works fine for indoor events then. But if you live in a city where things just come to a standstill, then even indoor events will not work because you obviously want people to come, and if your traffic is not coming, then the exhibition is not going to be successful and you're not going to get a crowd. One more thing to consider in relation to indoors and outdoors is the type of product that you're selling. So for example, if you're selling food, food needs to be in a cool environment. So if you're going to be doing food outdoors, the weather has to be cool. You cannot sit under the scorching sun with food and then expect it to work. It is going to go bad. It is going to start smelling very, very fast. So if your food stall is ever put in a place, in a location where it's hot, you have to complain to the organizer and you have to make sure that you get your stall shifted to a space which is conducive to your food not going bad. And then there are some other products which also may need a good better temperature control. For example, skincare products, makeup products. You don't want them in the heat either because they will also go bad. And that is product that you don't want going bad because people are going to be using it on their skin. And obviously you don't want your business reputation going down the line because they got bad product. So yes, you have to take the weather and your product into consideration when you want to choose whether you want to go for an indoor or an outdoor exhibition. And you have to see where your stall is located as per your product category. The next thing that is very, very important is communication. Are the organizers communicating with you as a vendor about the event, about what is expected of you, what is expected of them, how the event promotion is happening, what part you're playing in the whole thing, what terms and conditions there are to the event, what is expected of you on the day of the event, what time are you expected to arrive, what are you supposed to do, and how everything is just going to work together on the day of the event and even before that. Now, there are two aspects to this. One is the bare minimum, where they give you enough information so that when you arrive on the day of the event, you're not completely clueless and you have an idea on where to go and what to do. The second one is about the organizers going above and beyond the call of duty and giving you training regarding different aspects of business, sales, and promotion. This shows that they are interested in your business succeeding. So they're not just interested in making money from the event for themselves, but they also want you to make money. So while this is not a requirement, it is still a plus that somebody is doing that. Another thing that you have to see is whether a floor plan is being shared with you or not. What that shows you is if they are organized enough to have one or not. It cannot be, let's just sell as many as we can and then figure it out as we go along. making it more and more chaotic and disorganized, trying to fit in more things than they can in that space. You have to know your floor space, especially if you're indoors and you're constrained by a certain size. Outdoors, you might be more flexible, you might have more space, you might have a huge ground area, in which case you still have more flexibility with regards to how you do your layout. But for indoor events, especially, it's very, very important to have a proper layout done where you know the exact measurements down to the last inch or centimeter. Where is your stall going to be located? Do you have information about that? Do you have a choice in where you choose to take your stall? All of these are things that you want to obviously find out. You may not get to know your stall location on day one when you sign up for the event, because obviously organizers also have to see how many stalls they're getting and how to then place them. And you might get to maybe know a week or two before the event, which is fine as long as you're getting to know where your stall location is going to be. It is obviously a perk if you have the option to choose your own space. So you have to see what kind of a stall or a booth or whatever you're getting. So for example, are you getting a table? Are you getting a booth with proper walls and structure? Or you're just getting an empty space? And then you have to make sure that your product actually fits according to that space. Once I had a lady who wanted to get the table stall, but she had furniture. How is furniture ever going to fit on tables is beyond my understanding. She insisted that she will only bring smaller items like trays and decor items. On the day of the event, guess what she gets? She gets these tables and small stools, which are obviously not going to fit on the table. All the bigger products, she had to pack them up and she had to put them in her car. You cannot just imagine things will work out. You have to make sure they will work out. So you have to make sure that if you are getting a stall, you're not wasting that money by getting a stall that is smaller for the product that you're going to be selling. You cannot be selling furniture on a table, it needs to go in a booth. This one lady, she was selling soaps. So what she did was she got a whole booth. And then she had these shelves in which she had like these small soaps displayed right at the back of the stall. If you did not know that she was selling soap, you would never know what she was selling. And you hardly looked at the stall because there was nothing to look at except for these shelves which looked bare and empty. So you have to make sure that whatever stall you're getting, you are filling it up according to the size. So your product will define the size of your stall, whether you should get, let's say, a one table stall or a two table stall or a full booth with proper structure and walls. The worst thing to choose is an empty space unless you have the money to spend on making your own structure and separating it from the rest of the stalls. When it comes to home based and small businesses, people just do not have the budget. And they will obviously probably just be bringing this stuff and just putting it there. What happens with that is you will have one stall and then another, and there's no division between them. So it's always good to get a space that is separated from other stalls so people can tell this is your space, this is your brand, this is your business. And you have the chance to stand out and not be mixed up in this whole chaos with other stalls and other brands where one cannot tell you apart from other people and their businesses. At bigger events where you may have 50 plus or 100 plus stalls at an event, obviously there are going to be other people selling the same kind of stuff that you are. They're going to be like multiple people who are selling clothes, multiple people who are selling jewelry, multiple people who are selling crafts. Now the question is, how is that competition going to be placed? So I have seen exhibitions where all the competition is placed right next to each other. And I've seen exhibitions where people are placed randomly. So you may or may not be next to competition, and obviously there are events where people are very specifically placed away from their competition. So there are few issues that crop up when you place competition next to each other. So I'll give you my example. If I see too much of the same product going on and on and on, like 10 different jewelry stalls in one space, I will not be able to buy anything because my mind will be reeling from all the different options and it's just too much stuff to look at. When you separate them out, then you are just looking at them one by one, and there are more chances of somebody purchasing if they are able to concentrate only on your stall because that product is not going to be right next to you. So personally, I don't think that you should be placed next to your competition. And I think if your organizers are doing that, you need to make sure to tell them to separate you from your competition and replace you next to a complementary product or something completely different from your field. So for example, you can put a clothing business next to jewelry business that will do very well. And yes, sometimes it's not possible to separate out categories, or at least maybe you can put two, three together, but it cannot be like 12 in a line. If you have booths with walls, you can still put two, three stalls in the same category next to each other, because you can still define the boundary and you know this stall is separated from that one. Whether it's online, whether it's offline, or whether it's a mix of both. And either case works fine as long as there's a marketing budget and the organizer knows what they're doing. I've seen so many exhibitions where the organizers put in zero effort in the promotion of the event. The organizer has to make an effort. A marketing plan has to exist. It can involve the vendors, and then the organizer has to make sure that the marketing plan is implemented, that is, it is followed through. There need to be marketing materials that are available, whether for online or for offline promotion or for both. And if you don't see any promotion happening, then don't be surprised on the day of the event when very few people walk in and you hardly make any sales. And forget sales, you hardly get any exposure even. If this is not the first time the exhibition is happening, then you need to look at what kind of a footfall they got in their earlier events. What kind of crowd came? Was it a buying crowd? Was it a crowd that just came in to have fun and they left without really making many purchases? It is easy to get a crowd, but it is very difficult to get a buying crowd. A lot of organizers bundle their exhibitions with other events. So, for example, they'll have a concert plus an exhibition. And the problem with that is that a lot of people who would be coming to the event are coming for the concert, not for the exhibition. So, what would sell at a place like this? Food would sell. A smaller, less costly items would sell. But serious buyers, yeah, I don't think you're gonna get too many of those. Because do you want a crowd that just comes in for the fun of it? They'll come, they'll play games, they'll eat food, they'll visit a concert, and then they'll go home. They were not there to buy clothes and to buy jewelry or to buy anything more expensive, which is something that will happen at an event that is just focused on selling products, which is just for the vendors, because then people know that all they're going to get at the event are people selling products. So when they come in with the mindset of purchasing. You have to read the terms and conditions of an event and know what you're getting into. Make sure that you know what you get and what you don't get. Read the refund policy. Don't just sign up and then later on cry about not having the option to get a refund to the exhibition because none was offered as per the terms and conditions. Or see what you're allowed to do at the event and what you're not allowed to do. What are the conditions? If there's something that puts restrictions on you, on your product, on your business. You have to make sure that you are going in with all the information and that you're not going to be blindsided. So, these are just some of the very basic things that you need to take into consideration when signing up for an exhibition. Next time, we're going to be looking into stall decor. And since I have a 10-year experience in organizing these events and teaching people how to decorate their stalls for maximum benefits, I definitely have an advantage and I can tell you exactly what you need to do to make sure that your stall looks great and attracts attention from the people going by.